Jagradev, Jai Masters. In all of nature, growth means change. They're synonymous. If you don't change, you don't grow. A seed doesn't turn into a plant doesn't turn into a bush, into a tree, etc. Change. Growth means change. Obviously, your body has gone through some growth. Used to be this big, now you're, it went through changes. It grew. Same thing's inside. I don't know why we don't understand that. If you stay the way you are, you're not growing. Period. Change means growth. Yet, we do everything we can to stay the way we are. To get people, places, things, circumstances, finances, events, weather, to be what we want them to be, so that we feel comfortable with them. Well, that's trying to stay the way you are. You're basically saying, I don't like the rain, so I don't like rainy days. In other words, I'm not going to change. The weather should change. I'll move to Arizona. It rains less. I don't like the cold, so I'll do this, or move there, or do that. When you say that, when you say, I have a preference, and I want to stay that way, that's what it means to make the world change to match your preferences. You don't change. It doesn't sound weird to talk about it that way, because everybody's very big into manipulating, controlling, attracting, whatever the heck you want to do it, Guns N' Roses, to do everything you can to stay the same. This is how I like it. This is what I want. Some people say, I've always been this way. And they're proud. I can remember when I was 5 years old, I was this way. Of course I'm this way. In other words, I don't want to change. Now forget I don't want to. I'm not going to change. So the only way I'm going to be okay is if you all change. And that includes the weather and the this and the that, and just every single thing has to change so that I can stay the same. No one looks at it that way, do they? They all teach you how to be powerful and how to attract what you want and how to be passionate and get what you want and decide what you want and go get it, all this stuff. In other words, stay who you are. But be okay staying the way you are, which is very, very difficult because the world doesn't agree with you and it doesn't just naturally be the way you want. Has anyone noticed that? That the weather and the people and the this and the that and every single thing doesn't always unfold the way you want it to. Anybody notice that yet? And some people sit there and say, well, why can't it be the way I want? The answer is very easy, because it's not supposed to be. There's nothing written anywhere in nature that says, come on guys, get with the program, be the way she wants. Is it? The weather's not that way, the animal's not that way, the grass is not that way, the trees are not that way. Every single thing is not that way. Other people are not that way. Why? Because they want it to be the way they want. I stress this to you time and time again. Psychology says you are the sum of your learned experiences. No, you're not the sum of learned experiences. You're the consciousness that is aware that your ego, your psyche, your preferences, all that stuff, they are the sum of your learned experiences. I don't know whether you ever look at it that way. You have not decided a single thing. I make decisions based on what? The sum of your learned experiences. Well, I can have a job out in California or a job up in New York. I can't decide which one to take. How are you going to decide? I will look at my past experiences, see whether the cold weather thing, whether California is Democrat or Republican, whether it's this one. I would just look at the sum of learned experiences and try to make a decision based upon what I think that's telling me. And because you have many, many different experiences, and there's nothing that says they all align. You might have gone to Hawaii during the fires or the volcanoes. Now you don't want to go to Hawaii ever again and think people are stupid to go to Hawaii. You don't realize that. That's the sum of your learned experiences. If you had not had that experience, you would die to go to Hawaii. So that which you think is you is not you. It is programmed. It is a mind, a psyche, impressions made upon your mental and emotional bodies. Your experience came in. And some of them were pleasurable, and some of them were not. Why? It's the nature of things. A butterfly that lands on you is really beautiful. A rattlesnake rattling in front of you is not beautiful. You have to learn that. It's very natural. Everything gives off its energy. That's not you. Don't think that's judging. That's experiencing. That's perfectly natural. Like Yogananda said, Yukteswar was teaching him fearlessness. His guru was teaching him fearlessness and how to not act based on fear. And somebody asked Yukteswar, well, what if a lion jumps at you? Right? Yukteswar said, defend yourself. Like, there's natural fear that is supposed to come up under natural environment, and you're supposed to behave accordingly. That's not the same thing as if you're in New York City and you read that somebody in Africa got attacked by a lion and you're scared to turn the corner on Park Avenue and Fifth. All right? That's your mind. That's not a natural reaction. So the Buddhists talk about the nature of things. Things have their nature, and they give off that vibration, and you will pick that up. There, and nice, you get to do that. Now, what do you do with it? What you should do with it is interact with it here and now in a sensible, balanced, reasonable way, and then let it go. Just because you saw a rattlesnake once doesn't mean you have to be afraid to walk in the woods, or afraid to go out in the country, or afraid of anything, or freak out because somebody had a rattlesnake boots, rattlesnake skin boots, and you're freaking out. Why? Because 4 years ago I saw a rattlesnake. That's what's not natural. So that basically you come down to understand that your preferences, that you're making decisions based on, all of them are learned, but not just learned because you had an experience. They're learned because those are experiences you were not able to handle. That's what you're making. When you just sit there and think, well, do I like cold weather? Well, you had an experience with cold weather. It was all icy and you had to get out and shovel. You didn't like it. Or nice things. So you had impressions that happened to you due to experiences in your past that you were not able to handle naturally, to let them come in, deal with them, and let them go. That's the key point. Let them go. Every energy in the universe is moving through time and space. No atoms stay still. They know that for sure now. Electrons, quarks, leptons, they don't even know where they're going to show up. They just pop up. It all is changing all the time. But you won't let it. The things that came into you that didn't feel good to you, you suppressed. Freud used the word suppression, repression, denial. Yoga just used the word resistance. When you're suppressing, you're resisting, aren't you? When you're denying, you're resisting. When you're repressing, you're resisting. And if you're not psychologically suppressing, repressing, or denying, you just pushed it aside because she didn't say hello to you yesterday, and now you don't want to see her today. You carried it from yesterday into today. Why? Yesterday's over. The event is over. The event had a starting place. It happened. It then is over. But not in you, is it? Now you may think that's natural. That's not natural. It's natural to have the experience. It's natural perhaps to feel the reaction to the experience. Pleasant or not. Okay? When the experience is over, it should be over inside of you. You mean I can't remember it? Memory has nothing to do with what we call samskaras. Impressions that got left inside of you because you didn't let them finish. So the fact that something happened, whatever, any event, I saw an airplane, meant nothing. That doesn't mean I remember I saw the airplane. But guess what? It doesn't haunt me. It doesn't come back by itself. If I want to go and say, Dad, I seen an airplane a few days ago, and I can bring it back. You have memory. You can store, just like computers can store things. But you don't want a computer that throws the stuff up whenever it wants to, and you didn't ask for it. It just starts throwing this stuff up because it didn't like it when you put it in there. Okay? That's what yours is like, isn't it? So if you don't let the energy pass through, I teach this in Living Untethered, the energy comes in, it passes through your being, through your consciousness. It's like the river pours into the ocean, but the ocean doesn't overflow its bounds. It's been going on since creation. Rivers have been flowing into oceans, and they're fine. So basically, the sense world experience with sense, this is, by the way, exactly from the Gita. They talk about it. You experience the sense world, it comes in, and it flows into your consciousness and merges with it and makes you greater. Every experience makes you greater. If you didn't ever experience a snake, you're not as great as a person that experienced a snake. Nothing wrong with you, but you don't know as much as that person, do you? If you got married, I like this personal real quick. If you got married and it lasted 50 years, that's beautiful. What an experience you had. Somebody else got married, it lasted 5 weeks, 5 days. They had an experience you didn't. Well, mine's better. Who said? Right? As I bet you that person who's made a mistake and got married for 5 days learned a lot. They went through some changes, didn't they? Right? So you catch on that every experience that comes into you, if you let it pour into you, it feeds you. It makes you greater. You become an experienced being in that area. But if you block it using your will, I don't like this, I can't handle this, therefore I push it away. If you do that, not only does the memory be there, but it's charged. It's charged with all the emotion. Every single thing that was taking place at that time, you stored, as we call in yoga, call it samskara, a pattern of energy that didn't make it through you. Why didn't it make it through you? Because you used your will. You do have free will. You know you do. Do you have hands in there that can push things around? Have you ever pushed thoughts away? You ever pushed emotions away? Have you ever clung to the ones you like? I don't want them to go away. Hold on to them. So that after the experience is over, you're still thinking about it or holding on to it. And anything to remind you of it, it still comes back up. Yes or no? That's will. That's what's meant by you have free will. Don't ever let anyone tell you don't have will. You have free will. And you know it. You use it all the time. But if you use your will to push away an experience, you weren't ready to handle it. You weren't evolved enough to handle the reality of the experience. You said, I can't handle this. I can't handle it. You said that to me. I can't handle you did that. In other words, it came in and my being wasn't able to let it pass through my consciousness. Therefore, I used my will to push it away. Where do you think it goes? I've talked to this over and over again. It's the most important thing you'll ever learn. It stays inside of you. It actually gets stored in your energy system. What does that mean, your energy system? The very same system that you feel when you feel love, that just opens up and it pours. Come on, you felt that. It opens up and your heart opens and pours inside and you feel all this energy pouring out of you toward another person. Or if you have a deep meditation experience, you just open and feel joy. You won the lottery. I don't care what it is. You open and you feel all this energy come up. It's all Shakti. It's all Chi. It's the same energy. You are literally blocking that system, that channel through which that energy flows every single time you push something away, like I'm talking about. Every single time. How often do you do that? The driver in front of you is not driving the way you want. Nice blinker, buddy. It's raining when you have to deliver something. Any resistance you put to push away the experience, that is a pocket of energy that is blocked inside of you, and it builds up, and you don't have as much love and as much feelings, as much enthusiasm, as much passion, spontaneity, because you're blocked. So the energy can't flow. That's the most important thing I will ever teach you. That's the essence of yoga. Don't you dare think that yoga is meditation, or gurus, or asanas, or breathing. No. Those are techniques that yoga taught you. Yoga is about understanding what's going on in there. Okay? And what's going on in there is you've made a mess because you couldn't handle stuff. And so you stored it inside of you. And now you need to figure out how to feel love because you don't feel it naturally. How to feel passion. How to find just the right job and just the right person and the right boss and the same everything because you're blocked. I want a woman boss because I believe in woman's living. I can't believe that this is a company that has a CEO that's a woman. I love it, right? Okay, what happens when she gets fired and somebody else takes over? I don't want to work here anymore. Look at that. Right? You did that. You sat there and because you had past experiences where there's a glass ceiling, whatever the heck it is, non-equal pay, etc. And so you built these blocks inside of you. And so now you're only open if it's the way that fits your blockages, that doesn't hit your blockages. And you close the moment it hits your blockages. Is that a true statement or not? You don't understand. You think that's you. That is not you. It might as well be a computer program that's running. Why did you get your woman's live attitude? Because of the way my father treated my mother, or my mother was, being in the movement. There's reasons that you have these impressions, and some of your learned experiences. And now what's happening is things come in, and you can't handle them. And when you can't handle them, you push them down. Now you really can't handle them. You just stored more, and it starts building up until you're blocked. People are blocked. Almost all people are blocked. That's why they're out there trying to manipulate the world to match their stuff inside so that they can feel some juice. A yogi understands you are made of juice. You have so much juice inside of you, you can't even handle it. That's what you can't handle. How much joy, how much love, how much ecstasy, how much bliss, how much passion, how much enthusiasm. You feel every single second. That's who you are, but you blocked it. That's the essence of yoga. is how to stop putting those blockages in there and how to remove the ones that are in there. And then there's just this natural flow of Shakti that's pouring inside you, feeding you day and night, lifting you up. It will take you past where you meditate without you doing a single thing. I don't teach you against meditation. Meditation is wonderful, right? I am teaching you that you're the highest being to walk the face of the earth. You're it. You're already there. But you're in there holding all this garbage together, and that's where all your stress and anxiety comes from. You're afraid that something will happen in the world that hits your stuff. It makes you feel bad. Or something won't happen that makes you feel good. That's because you don't feel good. Yoga is this process of cleansing. Always it's about cleansing so that you can become whole and complete within yourself and now come out into the world where you're like a beam of light. All you're doing is giving. You don't need anything from anybody. But that's not cold. I don't need anything from anybody. It's like, I don't need anything from anybody. Come and get it. There's just giving. That's all that's happening is love, is peace, enthusiasm, passion. It's kind of nice to be around that kind of person, isn't it? It's just pouring out of you. So that's the understanding. Now what has happened is you have blocked yourself with these past experiences that you couldn't handle. And you don't want to change. You don't want to change. Why? It's very easy. The stuff you stored in there tended to be negative stuff. That's why you stored it in there. I can't handle this. Like, there's some positive stuff that you couldn't handle either. Why did I not handle positive stuff? Because you want it to stay. You want it to be exactly the same as it was before. You want everyone to treat you the way that turned you on before. You want them to show up wearing what really thought was adorable last time. Okay? You're clinging to the fact that it made you feel good. So you're still blocked. That's a block. And all it does is cause trouble, doesn't it? Expectations of expecting that everyone's going to be the same as you expect them to be. You feel love with your husband or wife or significant other, and they go to work, and you go to work. You're not the same people when you come back. You can't be, because you're the sum of your learned experiences. And you didn't have the experience they had, and they didn't have the experience you had. Change, 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 change. But you don't want it to change. You want it to stay the way you like it. You want the person to stay the way you like it. You want the situation to stay the way you want it. You want every single thing. I want to know that I can be okay with you. That's why I'm possessive and I'm jealous and I'm all that kind of stuff. Because I like how I felt when I was around you. So don't go anywhere. So don't talk to anybody else. And just always treat me the way that I know you'll love me. So even positive experiences you can't handle, because you want them to stay. This whole thing about change. I never focused on change before, isolating it. You have blocked yourself so you can't allow the world to change. It has to stay the way you're manipulating, controlling it. Don't just talk to me like that. Sleep on the couch for 2 weeks. Manipulate, control. All right? No, we don't do it, do we? Okay. So basically, you're not willing to change. Why? Because most of what you stored in there was not comfortable to you. Ask Freud. Okay, all the way back to Mother. Most of that stuff caused pain. It caused disturbance. Fine, there's vibrations that are not comfortable. Can you handle it? No. So you actually store the event that you couldn't handle. The worst thing that ever happened to you, I guarantee you, is still stored inside of you. And you don't want anything to remind you of them. You don't want anything to touch them. I've heard people say that. You know we don't talk about that subject around your father. What's wrong with Daddy? He's blocked. He got some issues. And if you don't want to hear about the issues, you just keep your mouth shut. In other words, no change, no change, no change, no change. No growth. No change means no growth. Okay? Why is it you don't want to deal with it? Because it was stored with pain. It's going to come back with pain. It was stored with discomfort. You had a very bad divorce. Now you don't want to date because you stored all this stuff. What should it be like if you get married and it doesn't work out and you get a divorce? You should be the perfect person that somebody looks for to marry again. Why? Because you learned, oh my God, how much did you learn about how relationships can get screwed up? You stood at the altar, you loved each other with all your hearts, and now some years later you're suing each other and all this stuff's going on. Did you learn anything? No, I learned marriage is no good. So basically you come down to realize if you stored pain, it's going to come back as pain. And you didn't like it when it was happening, and you don't want it to come back. So now you adjust your life so that you don't have to deal with this stuff, so you don't have to change. And that's what it boils down to. So eventually you catch on, and you say what I said to start with. Do you want to grow? Do you want to grow? Or do you want to protect yourself and stay the way you are? That's what it boils down to. A spiritual person says, no, I want to grow. I want to grow. But it's going to involve some pain. Why? Because that's what's keeping you from growing. You locked yourself in a box, and there's no food and air can get in there. Your heart's closed, and your mind has got particular preferences and so on and so forth, and you try to make everything match that stuff. The deep teachings say, no, no, no. You want that stuff out of there. You don't want to adjust all of life all the time to match your garbage, to match the lowest part of your being. That's when you're ready for spiritual growth. That's why people pick on me, and I like it, because all these laws of attraction and how to attract to yourself what you want. The moment you talk to me about how do I attract to myself what I want, you're talking to the wrong person. Why? Because you're not supposed to be attracting to yourself what you want. You're supposed to be letting go of the reason you can't appreciate everything. For the reason I told you, you're sitting on a little planet, spinning around little nowheres. I marvel. I can't help myself. Where did this place come from? There's trees, there's green, there's color, there's deer. What the heck? In a little ball spinning around black, empty space. We sent probes everywhere, didn't we? From the Hubble telescope, the James Webb is looking. We ain't seen squat. I'm not saying it's not there. I don't argue that. But we don't know it's there. We haven't seen anything. We've looked light years away. And you're on this little tiny ball that 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And all of this is here. Every day, every second. And all you do is try to manipulate it so it doesn't hit your stuff. You try to stay the same. So a wise being looks at that and says, I don't think so. I don't want to live like that. I am not going to spend my life protecting the lowest part of my being. I am willing to change. It has nothing to do with right or wrong or just. Somebody wrote us the other day and asked the question, are you saying that if somebody says something or something happens and it hits something inside of me, to not defend myself and not argue about it, but to just try and let go is how to grow spiritually? Guess what? Yes. Yes, I'm saying that. Let's get that straight, all right? Because if you sit there and hit your stuff and you succeed in getting the person to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I really didn't mean it, and so on, you just got to keep your stuff. And if you sit there and you defend yourself and the person doesn't say they're sorry, I'm sticking by my guns. Right now you got more stuff, don't you? It's like picking at a scab. You got irritated. So you wake up and you realize it's not about getting what you want. It's about getting rid of the reason you want things as opposed to appreciating the phenomenal miracle that is going on in this little planet. Okay? I told you, 1.3 million Earths inside the sun. The sun is one of 300 billion stars in your galaxy. And there are 2 trillion galaxies. And all you care about is a scratch on your car. Or somebody didn't say hello. Or when they said it, it didn't seem like they meant it. Whoa. That's getting pretty little, isn't it? That's because you have all this pain inside. That's because you have all these blockages inside. If you get rid of those blockages, it's not like that. I sometimes tell you what it can be like, but it sounds so silly, I don't know. You know how a great being wakes up in the morning? I'm back! I wonder what's going to happen today. Wow! How about this? I'm back! Oh, look, the room is still here. All the atoms stayed together overnight. Forget the atoms. The quantum field kept bopping up with quarks, leptons, and bosons, and then they interacted together, and my bedroom's still here. Who did that? Not me. How about you? It's a miracle. Every bit of it's a miracle. It's awesome. It's unbelievable. And so you wake up and you're excited, and then you brush your teeth, and you go there, and whatever's happening is happening on this little planet in the middle of nowheres. And it's amazing. I always tell you, from now on, don't compare what's in front of you with what you want from inside. Compare with what's in front of you with what's going on Mars. Oh, would you rather be on Mars? Really? Would you rather be on Mars or Venus or Jupiter or anywheres? Or maybe just be on interplanetary space, black, dark, or hot. So, oh my God, you melt. Wake up. You won the lottery. You went beyond the lottery. It's a phenomenal place that you live. Every second, every moment. Are there experiences that aren't comfortable when they come in, like rattlesnakes? Yes, but they're experiences. Would you rather not have experiences? I just want the ones I want. But nobody agrees with you. It's the craziest thing in the world. So a great being wakes up. I told you, we'll go to the extreme. Somebody's standing there. Your boss is standing there blaming you for something you didn't do. Okay, somebody else turned it in, but they're your friend and you don't want to say anything. And here she's yelling at you, they're just dumping on you. You're welcome to sit there and get all uptight and be anxious and everything. Say, oh, I didn't do it. I should tell it. Oh my God, I don't want to turn my friend in, but I didn't do it. Oh, you're just going crazy inside. Or this is what you can do. Did you know that human beings have vocal cords and they make sounds? A-E-I-O-U-B-C-D-E. They make a lot of sounds, okay? They make sounds, the vocal cords, and you can put the sounds together so they make words. Did you know that? And then those words can come out of the mouth. And that's not even the end. Then those sounds go into the ears. And they vibrate the anvil and the thing, or a hammer and the anvil and eardrum, and then they come in, and then it comes up to the brain as just vibrations. But the brain is so brilliant, it has some idea what they mean. That's what it means for somebody yelling at you. That's phenomenal. You should be blissed out. Oh my God, I understand. He's making sounds. And I understand what the sounds mean. Wow. You can be like that, can't you? It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. You should be marveled. How does it know how to make sounds so complicated? Look at all these sounds coming out. And you're hearing them and you know what they mean. Oh my God, how brilliant is your brain? How brilliant is this whole system? And you're born on the earth that does it. Doesn't happen on Mars, doesn't happen on Jupiter, doesn't happen anywhere else that we know of. Okay? And we, like I said, we look pretty far out there. And instead of being marveled by it, you're upset by it. I don't have anybody yelling at me. I didn't do it. You're doing it. You're ruining your life. Life is not ruining your life. The interview with Oprah in the new book, her favorite line in the book was, the moment in front of you is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. Mayok Shakti, the saint that bought the Durga statue back in the 70s, very, very high, very, very pure being, very beautiful. Once she turned to me, she said, Mickey, I said, yes, mother. She says, don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy. She just got off on it. There is Shakti. I was like, wow. There's a lot of energy when they're yelling at it. Whoa. She could channel it. It didn't upset her one single iota. She giggled. What's stopping you from being like that? You. You would rather defend yourself. You would rather argue. You'd rather be right. Do you know that if you're in a group of people at a cocktail party, or if you do those things, or some kind of a party, and they're having a conversation about something, you say something, and what you said was wrong. It was just wrong. You had the facts wrong. Okay? You would rather convince them that you were right than be wrong. Well, that's crazy. You could have learned something. You say, oh, wow, you're right. My mind told me this. It was wrong. And you go on. No, it's not wrong. This book said this. I read that somewhere. Somebody said that. Didn't you turn to your husband or wife? Don't you agree? And if they say no, oh, boy, they're sleeping 3 months on the couch. Wake up. You're trying to not change. You're trying to... So now when we talk about it, I'll ask you a serious question. Have you noticed you're a mess? Come on, I know we're supposed to be positive. Have you noticed it's a mess? Like some people say to me, no, I practice positive thinking. Why? Hey, you got it. Good, I'm proud of you. Why do you practice positive thinking? Because it's pretty negative, I don't. So it's a mess in there. It can't not be. Why? Because you stored a mess. You stored every single thing that ever bothered you inside. What's it going to be like? Bothered? And now you need to try and be okay by manipulating the world so it be the way you want it to be, setting a goal for yourself and then feeling you're achieving it. I'll be happy. Set a goal. Hit it. You okay now for the rest of your life? Everything taken care of? Go and find that special person. Go on, get married. Have a kid. It's over, right? You're fine for the rest of your life. Everything's perfect. Okay, I'm telling you, because I've met such people. If you are number one richest person in the world in Forbes magazine, now they list those things, right? This year, and next year you're number 2, it bothers you. Do you doubt it? No. It bothers you. Why? Because it doesn't mean squat. What's wrong is you're not okay inside because you blocked all this stuff. Something can happen that opens you temporarily, but it doesn't stay that way. You have to keep running. You think you're running towards something. You're running away from yourself. Just take a breath. You're running away from yourself when you go to the movies, when you go travel, when you go on vacations. I'm not okay, but this will distract me from myself. Okay? How do you like to go to a movie and it's so boring you just sit there thinking all day about every problem you have? No. You want to go to a movie that captures your attention for 2 hours. You're not even there. You don't even know yourself. It just pulled you into complete. You said, what a great movie. Why? Because you didn't have to live with yourself for 2 hours. The same thing with your relationships. Oh, I'm being very bad today. I didn't tell you to come. Your relationships are exactly the same. You're sitting there having a relationship with somebody, you meet them, it blows you away. They're attractive, your heart opens. Oh, I love being with this person. What happens when all of a sudden they're not what you thought they were, or it didn't turn out, or they didn't show up and you expected them to meet your dinner or something like that, right? How you doing now? It didn't fix anything. I have literally heard elderly people that they were married 50, 60 years and one of them dies. And one survivor sits there and says, God, I swear I feel the same as I did before I met Bernie. It's like the loneliness is still there. That is so sad. Not sad that they feel that. Sad that they wasted 60 years of their life being distracted from what's inside of them that made them hang out with Bernie. Do you understand? That's what you expect the relationship to do. Distract you from yourself. If you're in a relationship and all you're thinking about is the same thing when you come home as when you were at work and the same problems you had before you got married and so on, that's not very successful, is it? You don't like that. You like someone exciting that distracts you and surprises you and always remembers your anniversary. And why? Pull me out of myself. Pull me away from myself. Pull me away from myself. If I'm unhappy, make me happy. If I'm depressed, wake me up. Come on, come on. In other words, every single thing you're doing is trying to run away from yourself and trying to manipulate the world so that it helps you do that. You understand? I want enough money so that I can always do things that distract me from myself. Yoga says, what are you doing? Fix what's wrong in there. It's not permanent. You know how impermanent it is? The only reason it's in there is because you're holding it in there. No, it's not true that mommy did it. Mommy did things not so good 40 years ago. If it's in there, it's because you're holding it in there. Do you understand that? There's not a single thing that ever happened to you that you can't let go of. Not a single thing. No matter how traumatic it is, no matter what it is, I don't care what they tell you. What is a traumatic experience? An experience that was so powerful that you couldn't handle it so much that you push it away, and it's taking all your energy to keep it down there so you can't talk well anymore and you can't do things and you're not interested in anything, you're closed. That's a traumatic experience. You're doing it. You didn't do the experience. You didn't call them up blaming you. There's no blame here. But if it's still in there after it's over, who do you think's holding it in there? That's where psychology becomes transpersonal. You've heard of transpersonal psychology? That's transpersonal. It went beyond the personal. Yes, it's true that you had this experience. Yes, it's true it's difficult. Yes, it's true that anybody would find it difficult. Fine. You want it? You like how screwing up your life? Keep it. You want to not keep it in there? Learn to let go. But I can't let go. Right now, you can't let go of it. It's too strong. And you haven't learned how to let go. That's why I teach what I teach. You don't start with the traumatic experiences, what mommy did, daddy did, or the last husband or wife. You don't start with that stuff. It's too big. It's too powerful. You don't stand a chance. If you're so sensitive, anything touches it, you get all weird, start arguing and hitting and throwing pots and pans. You don't start with that. Start with understanding, I want to learn to change. I do not want it to stay like this the rest of my life, and I don't want to think that the outside world has to match my stuff perfectly to tiptoe through the tulips so it doesn't hit my stuff. I don't want to have to manipulate everybody and everything and be afraid that it's going to change and not trust people. You understand that? Do you? You really want to live like that? And you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to have to change. How do you do that? You don't start with the big stuff. I teach this very strongly in Living Untethered. You start with the simplest, tiniest little things that are so easy for you to change about so you can learn how to do it. Just like you learn to play the piano by using the scales. You learn to play tennis by having a coach or a ball machine. You don't start playing Borg and the Williams sisters. You don't start playing Mozart or Tchaikovsky. You start with simple things. This is the same. I know you can say to me, but I can't handle it. I don't know how to handle it. Yes, I know you don't know how to handle it. I respect you don't know how to handle it. I respect that it freaks you out when it comes back up. I respect that you have bad dreams about it. I respect all that. I respect that whole psyche thing. But it doesn't have to be that way. That stuff's in there because you're holding it in there. There's no glue in there. There's no flypaper. There's not a single thing. It's clear sky, except that you use your will to hold those packets of energy that you stored that you couldn't handle from before. So first understand you are capable of letting it go. Of what? Anything, everything, but not right now. Just like you're capable of playing the piano. You are perfectly capable of playing the piano better than you play right now. Maybe not a whole lot better, but better. You're better at a sport when you practice than if you don't practice. Isn't that a truism, isn't it? Okay, this is the same. You can get better at this. Better at what? The most important thing in your entire life. Letting go of that garbage you stored inside of you that's destroying you and making you manipulate and control everything. You have conditional well-being. I'm okay as long as I want you to have unconditional well-being. Unconditional well-being. Right? There's a line in the Gita so beautiful where Krishna is explaining to Arjuna what a saint is like. And one of the parts says that the world of sense pours into the yogi and leaves him as it found him, serene, content, at peace, in ecstasy. Now go out and share that. But nothing can touch you. Nothing. It just comes in. You don't suppress it. It comes in and passes through. It's not that it doesn't happen. Ramakrishna was asked once, great master, do you ever feel anger? Does a great saint, enlightened being ever feel anger? He shocked me. It was years and years ago I read this. He said yes, but it's like riding on water. How long does riding on water stay there? Try reading what somebody wrote on water. It comes in, it can have an impression, but it passes through. There's only one thing that stops from passing through. You. Anybody else in there? Mommy in there? Daddy in there? First husband in there? Anybody else in there? Nobody else in there, is it? You're in there. You're the consciousness that's in there experiencing what's coming in from outside. You are capable of letting it go. You just haven't learned. Nobody taught you. They teach you how to try and make the outside be the way you want it to be. Or they teach you that you'll be okay inside as long as you do this and don't do this and behave and do this and do that. No, that's just more stuff you got to carry inside yourself. You're afraid, oh my God, I did wrong. I feel guilty. Right? Blue sky, empty, open. Right? So how do you do that? You start with the little things. People tell me I'm terrible because I always use the same example. They're good examples. Does anybody ever get disturbed by the driver in front of them? Driving too slow, weaving, keep stepping on their brake, doesn't use a blinker. Come on, nobody ever, just me, right? Nobody ever has anything to say about it, okay? You're now bothering yourself about something that there's no benefit. What's the cost-benefit here, business people? What's the cost-benefit analysis of being bothered by the driver in front of you? Is it going to change anything? Have you ever talked to the driver in front of you? And in your own car, sitting there, come on, buddy, what are you doing? Why do you keep stepping on your brakes, all right? Come on, it's 15 miles below the speed limit here. Look, anybody ever do that? Just me, right? He doesn't hear you. It has no meaning. All it does is get you upset. You've not had one single benefit to being bothered by the driver in front of you. Is there? And I'm telling you, that's equivalent to practicing your scales on a piano. You actually look at it, you're conscious, you're witness consciousness, you notice the part of your being. Why? Why do you do that? If you had a beautiful meditation, you're filled with love, no hurry to get anywhere, and you're driving behind this person who's going slow, it's good. I can drive slower and feel ecstasy. It's because you're not okay. And you think there's something you're going to do that's going to make you be okay, or it's hitting your stuff, that you do all this. So you practice letting go with tiny things like that. I swear to God, it works. People write me from all over the world. It works. I'm happier than I ever was. Just by letting go. How can it not work? If you stop bothering yourself, you will stop being bothered. You don't realize these things you're doing are trying to express the negativity that you have inside of you. That's why you're complaining about the weather, you're complaining about the rain, complaining about what somebody said, complaining about what somebody didn't say, complaining about the driver. It's like there's complaint in there. It's a complaint department. So this becomes an opportunity to let it out. But it's not doing any good. So start there, and what do? What I experience is, okay, first be conscious. Notice that you're bothering yourself. The driver in front of you is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the driver in front of you. The rain is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the rain. How about we stop doing that and just start with the small stuff? So how do you do that? You catch the tendency to close. the tendency to get negative, the tendency to just take your stuff and make a mess, all right? And what I have found, there's all kinds of, you can do mantra, you can do positive thinking. These are all wonderful things to do. My experience at a certain point in my growth was relax. But it won't relax. If I tell the part of me that doesn't like the way the driver's driving to relax, nothing happens. No, I didn't tell it to relax. I told you to relax. There's where you get witness consciousness, the separation between the consciousness and the object of consciousness. At that point, the object of consciousness is disturbed. The mind is complaining, the heart hurts, there's all kinds of nervous energy coming up there. What you're looking at is disturbed. I'm not denying that. You're not disturbed. You're the one who's looking at it. If I look at a picture that's all screwed up, I'm not screwed up. If I look at a vase that's broken, I'm not broken. I'm the consciousness that is experiencing a broken vase, that's experiencing a messed up picture, that's experiencing a messed up mind, that's experiencing disturbed energy inside. You relax. Can you relax in the face of what you're experiencing? It takes practice. First of all, the answer is yes. You can do anything you want. You're just consciousness. You're just aware of what's there. If you relax, what you're going to find out, it took me years to realize that, is if I relax, I'm not resisting it. Therefore, it has the right to come up. Therefore, while you're driving and the driver in front of you is not driving the way you want it to, can be a spiritual experience. In other words, you're letting go of the part of you that gets disturbed over something completely stupid. By relaxing, it can pass through. There's a state called transmutation of energy. It comes up as disturbance. You relax enough, you get the rush, like Margaret was talking about. All of a sudden, whoa, neat. Let me find another driver who drives stupid. Because I got to let go of me, and the energy underneath my disturbance started coming up. And you start enjoying the practice of letting go as a thing in and of itself. And you do it with little things at first, and then something bigger happens that used to bother you. You took a test, and you thought you got an A, but you got a B. And you look at it. Your being disturbed is not going to change that grade on that test. And in fact, it may make you not like the professor. And it may make you not like the subject for the rest of your life. I'm not good at math. Instead of, hey, I get to learn. I get to let go of the part of me that's resisting and honor, respect, and accept what's going on, and then learn. And that's what happens. The more you let go, the more the past stuff releases and new stuff is free to come in, and you're free to experience it. And so, like I say, something bigger happens. Somebody doesn't say hello to you, a friend of yours says hello. They don't say hello. You start feeling all this rejection and stuff like that. You don't know why they didn't say hello. They got earbuds in. They had a phone call before you talked to them, and they weren't paying attention to anybody. They were just walking around in a daze. But you're going to make a thing out of it. You're going to take it personal. Instead, you start relaxing. You just relax. I can handle this. That's a great mantra. I can handle this. I can handle this. You should use it all the time. I can handle this. Can you handle the driver in front of you? I can handle this. Can you handle the fact that the weather's not what you want? I can handle this. Can you handle the fact that a friend didn't say hello when you said hello to them? I can handle this. As you learn to let go, you're going to find out you get high. Why? You're not storing more disturbances. The disturbances that are already in there that were causing you to be so reactive have an opportunity to release. You'll be shocked what happens. It comes back up. You're making a big thing about the driver in front of you. You don't. You just relax. And all of a sudden you remember, oh, when you were 10, your father did this about the driver or whatever it was, or they had an argument in the car about how mother was driving. And all of a sudden it comes back up. You didn't know it was in there. You cleanse. You use life to cleanse. It's a washing machine. That's what life is, a washing machine that is cleansing all your stuff. Now you are changing. You see the difference? You're not trying to stay the same and make everything else change. You are sitting here saying, what I'm about is change. Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Period. Earth, that little ball sitting around there, all right, is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Are you evolving? Evolving means change. It means growth. Or are you sitting there trying to protect yourself, stay the same, and make everything else fit how you are now? And then you're not growing. Like, how do I know if I'm growing? You know if you're growing. This I can tell you right now. It's like everything in there is... You think that the things that happen in your life that cause disturbance are bad. No, they're good. They're good. They're giving you an opportunity to let go of the part of you that can get disturbed. Do you want to control and manipulate everything so it doesn't disturb you? Or do you want to get rid of the part of you that can get disturbed? Because I'm telling you, there's a part of you in there, the consciousness itself, that doesn't ever get disturbed. It's just aware of what's going on, and it's all Shakti coming up into it, and eventually all of life just raises you up. It just keeps feeding you, and you go higher and higher. And we haven't talked about that. The high we're talking about now is you can be okay. When? Always. What does that mean? If somebody I love dies, that I don't feel sorrow? You enjoy the feeling of sorrow. Did you ever think that the pain and the loss that you feel is equivalent to saying, I love you? You don't feel that for people you don't know. You don't feel that for people you don't love, right? That's just another expression of love, the feeling of loss. Look at it that way. Welcome it. It's not that you don't feel, just because you're able to experience the feeling without getting all weird. You feel it deeper than other people do. Other people don't want to feel the feeling, so they push it away. You welcome the humanness, but you don't block it. You let it come in. You're more human than anybody else because you're actually feeling compassion and depth. You are capable of this, but you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to check and see how unwilling you are to change. Right? How much you try to manipulate and control so you don't have to feel the stuff that's in there. Eventually you will sit there and say, come on, bring it up. Bring it up. And you do first the small stuff, then it'll be bigger, then it'll be bigger. And the bigger you let go, the higher you get. Until eventually all this Shakti is just pouring up inside of you all the time. And then something happens and you feel a tendency to close and you sit there and say, not a chance in the world. I ain't giving up this for that. I ain't giving up the love that I feel because of what somebody said to me or did, whatever it is, right? It's very beautiful. So this is what it means to grow. The willingness to change. Are you willing to change? Or do you think everybody else is supposed to change to match you? And eventually you get to the point where you realize, I'm a change machine, baby. Bring it on. Bring it on. I love it. Work on these things. Jagradev.